Ashanti pours water onto the plant, and suddenly, a crisp 100 Sadie note emerges from the leaves. His eyes widen in shock and disbelief as he whispers to himself, "What in the world? Am I seeing things? No, this is real. This plant just gave me money." Ashanti Mensah was a real estate agent in Accra, Ghana, known for his peculiar way of doing business. Instead of fixing the broken parts of the houses he sold, he would cover them up with curtains, furniture, or decorations. His clients often discovered the hidden problems quickly and left, making Ashanti a very unsuccessful agent. As a result, Ashanti and his family lived a modest life with no luxuries. One evening, after a long and tiring day at work, Ashanti came home to some shocking news. His beloved Uncle Kwame had passed away. Ashanti felt a mix of sadness and excitement. Uncle Kwame had been a very wealthy man, and with no other relatives, Ashanti expected to inherit all his property. However, when Ashanti met with Uncle Kwame's lawyer, his hopes were crushed. Ashanti sat across from the lawyer, his palms sweating in anticipation. Lawyer said, "I'm sorry, Ashanti. Your uncle left very specific instructions. All of his wealth has been donated to charity. What remains for you is this potted plant." Ashanti in disbelief, "A plant? That's it. After all these years, he leaves me with a plant." Feeling frustrated and disappointed, Ashanti took the plant home. The next morning, Ashanti was still in a bad mood. During breakfast, he yelled at his children for spending too much money, even though they had spent very little. Ashanti never gave them pocket money, which made them resent him. After breakfast, Ashanti cleared out a small storeroom in the backyard and placed the plant there. Despite his anger at his uncle, Ashanti decided to water the plant out of respect. To his surprise, as he poured water onto the plant, a 100 Sadie note popped out from beneath the leaves. Ashanti couldn't believe his eyes. Ashanti whispered to himself, "What in the world? Am I seeing things? No, this is real. This plant just gave me money." He plucked the note and stared at it, realizing that this plant was no ordinary plant. It was a money plant. Filled with excitement, Ashanti began to think about how this unexpected gift could change his life. But he decided to keep the plant a secret, not telling his family about his discovery. He wanted to figure out how to use this mysterious plant to improve his situation. As he planned his next steps, Ashanti couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. This money plant could be the answer to all his problems. But little did he know, the journey ahead would be filled with challenges and lessons he never anticipated. Ashanti decided to keep the money plant a secret. Each day, he would sneak into the storeroom to collect the money. As the days passed, he gathered thousands of Sadies. Ashanti started to spend his newfound wealth on designer clothes and other luxuries. He also began giving his children generous pocket money, which made them happier than ever. However, his wife, Adwoa, and the children started to become curious about where all the money was coming from. Adwoa suspicious, "Ashanti, where is all this money coming from? Last month we were struggling to pay bills, and now you're buying designer clothes." Ashanti defensive, "I told you, Adwoa, my business is finally picking up. Why can't you just be happy for once?" Ashanti's family wasn't the only one noticing his sudden wealth. One day, an old friend of Uncle Kwame, named Abiku, visited Ashanti. Abiku was in charge of a charity organization and asked for a donation. In a good mood, Ashanti gave Abiku 1,000 Sadies. This surprised his family, and they began to question him about his sudden wealth. Adwoa insisted, "Ashanti, you need to tell me where all this money is coming from. This isn't normal." Ashanti irritated, "I'm doing well at work, Adwoa. Why do you keep doubting me?" As Ashanti continued to get richer, he started showing off his wealth. He bought an expensive lawn mower, even though his house didn't have much of a garden. When his colleague, Kwesi, made fun of his old car, Ashanti decided to buy a flashy sports car, paying in cash. This act made the car dealer suspicious, and he reported Ashanti to the police, thinking he might be involved in illegal activities. Detective Amma started investigating Ashanti, suspecting him of being involved in something shady. Meanwhile, at home, Adwoa grew more suspicious. She repeatedly asked Ashanti about his source of income, but he always avoided her questions. This led to frequent arguments between them. Adwoa frustrated, "Ashanti, this secrecy is tearing us apart. I need to know the truth." Ashanti angrily, "Why can't you just trust me, Adwoa? I'm doing all of this for our family." One day, Abiku returned to ask for another donation. However, Ashanti, who was in a bad mood, rudely turned him away. Abiku said politely, "Ashanti, I came to see if you could assist with another donation." "The children." Ashanti interrupted annoyingly, "Not today, Abiku. I've given enough already. Why do you keep asking for more?" Abiku said calmly, "Ashanti, wealth is meant to be shared, not hoarded." Later, Detective Amma visited Adwoa and questioned her about Ashanti's work. Despite their arguments, Adwoa defended her husband, insisting he was an honest and hard-working real estate agent. Detective Amma, not satisfied, decided to dig deeper into Ashanti's activities. Ashanti's troubles increased when the money plant suddenly stopped producing money. He was baffled and thought that someone might have cursed him. In a desperate attempt to lift the supposed curse, he decided to give money to all the people he had wronged. He went to Abiku's charity office and made a huge donation, hoping it would solve his problems. Abiku impressed, "Ashanti, your generosity is commendable. But remember, true wealth isn't just about money. It's about the impact you make on others' lives." Despite his efforts, the plant did not revive. One morning, while buying coffee at a cafe, Ashanti encountered a homeless man. He gave the man a 100 Sadie note and his coffee, trying to continue his Good Samaritan act. Unfortunately, Detective Amma saw the homeless man with the money and assumed he was part of Ashanti's illegal dealings. She arrested the man, believing he was distributing narcotics for Ashanti. Meanwhile, Ashanti's personal life was falling apart. He had promised to attend his son Kojo's important football match but left home without informing anyone, making Kojo very disappointed. Adwoa and their daughter, Afia, tried to contact Ashanti, but he didn't answer his phone. When nothing worked, they decided to look for him at his workplace. When Adwoa and Afia arrived at Ashanti's office, they found it dark and empty. As Afia explored a shader-looking room, she accidentally fell through a hole that Ashanti had covered with a cloth instead of fixing. She suffered a fractured arm, and they rushed her to the hospital. Ashanti's colleague, Kwesi, was furious with him for being reckless and almost punched him but stopped at the last moment. At the hospital, Ashanti realized the gravity of his mistakes. He broke down in tears, apologizing to Adwoa for all his wrongdoings. Ashanti sobbing, "Adwoa, I've been so blind. I let greed take over. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you or the kids." Adwoa said softly, "Ashanti, I forgive you. But we must learn from this. Wealth isn't everything, family is." Ashanti promised to be a better husband and father, realizing that his shortcuts and deceit had only brought misery to his family. As they left the hospital with Afia, Ashanti knew he had to change his ways. The money plant had brought him temporary wealth but also many troubles. It was time for Ashanti to find happiness in honest work and his family. The next morning, Detective Amma arrived at Ashanti's home and arrested him. Ashanti was taken to the police station, where he was shocked to see the homeless man he had helped earlier and Abiku. Abiku revealed that he knew about the money plant all along. Abiku said solemnly, "I gave this plant to your uncle during a difficult time, hoping it would help him. But the plant only brought more problems and greed. Your uncle eventually found true happiness by giving away his wealth to those in need." Abiku urged Ashanti to do the same and use his wealth to help others. Surprisingly, after Abiku's explanation, all three were released from jail. Ashanti's colleague, Kwesi, had told the police that they had become rich from a big property sale, saving Ashanti from further trouble. Realizing the true meaning of Abiku's words, Ashanti decided to change his life. He sold his sports car and donated the money to a bhikkhus charity. At a charity event, Ashanti gave a heartfelt speech. Ashanti addressing the crowd, "I stand before you today, a changed man. I thought wealth was the answer to all my problems, but I was wrong. True wealth is found in the love of family and in giving back to those in need. I promise to use what I have to make the world a better place." His family and Kwesi were impressed and proud of him. Ashanti also made amends with his son Kojo, promising never to miss any important events again. He wanted to be a better father and husband, putting his family first. Adwoa and the children were happy to see the positive change in Ashanti. Ashanti returned the money plant to a bhikkhu, understanding that true happiness came from honesty, family, and helping others. He no longer needed the plant to feel rich. Ashanti and his family planned a vacation, not with the extravagant wealth he once had, but with the joy of being together and living an honest life. As they drove away, Ashanti felt a sense of peace he had never known. He had learned valuable lessons about life, and he was ready to start anew. The journey had been tough, but Ashanti knew that with his family by his side, he could face any challenge. The money plant had changed his life, but it was his choices that truly defined his future. With his newfound wisdom, Ashanti began a new chapter in his life. He focused on being an honest real estate agent, fixing and improving the properties he sold. His reputation improved, and clients started trusting him. Ashanti's business slowly grew, not with the speed of his previous wealth but with steady and genuine success. One day, a bhikkhu invited Ashanti and his family to visit the charity home. It was a vibrant place filled with children's laughter and joy. A bhikkhu explained that the donations had helped improve the facilities and provided better care for the children. Seeing the smiles on the children's faces, Ashanti felt a deep sense of fulfillment. At the charity home, Ashanti gave another speech. Ashanti, being inspired, said, "I once thought wealth was measured by the money in my pocket, but I've learned that it's the impact we make in others' lives that truly counts. Let us all strive to help those in need and find happiness in doing good." Ashanti's journey from greed to generosity, from secrecy to openness, had transformed him into a better man, father, and husband. And as he stood there, surrounded by the joyful children and his proud family, Ashanti knew that he had finally found true wealth. The story we've just heard raises an important question: does money really bring true happiness? We've seen Ashanti gain sudden wealth, only to find that it brought him more problems and strained his relationships. The truth is, money isn't everything. It can provide comfort, but it doesn't guarantee happiness. True happiness comes from the love and support of family, living with honesty, and making a positive impact on others' lives. In the end, it's not the wealth in our pockets, but the richness in our hearts that truly matters. So, what do you think? Does money bring true happiness, or is there something more? Mention your opinion in the comment section. If you enjoyed this story and the lessons it shared, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join our community. Like the video if it made you think, and be sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss another interesting tale. Your support helps us bring more meaningful stories to life. Thanks for watching.